Good evening, guys. Today, I want to do something different. I like to go over the current drama that's been going on between the founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, and a couple of VCs. And it's gotten even Elon Musk to involve into this drama. So I want to give you a rundown on what's happening between them. All these billionaires are fighting each other about Web3. So for those of us who are in Web3 already, we're sort of being the beneficiary party of this whole battle because we are getting quite a bit of coverage from the media. We are getting talked about by regular folks who's never seen Web3 before. They may be curious about what that is and they may start writing or Googling about Web3. So for us, I think any of this publicity between these well-known folks is good for us. So we are early. If you're doing any DEXs, any LP, any staking in crypto, you are very, very early because the majority of the public does not know what it is. At most, they heard about Bitcoin or Dogecoin or Ethereum, but they don't know the exact innovation that's happening in the Web3 world that we are currently involved in. So as you know, my channel, I cover Time Wonderland, DeFi Kingdoms. So things like that are like super, super innovative way for us to get involved with our finances and to have the total freedom to do what we want. So this is, I think, like what I envision what Web3 should be. So, but a few days ago, Jack Dorsey tweeted about Web3. So this was his tweet. Here he talked about, you don't actually own Web3. So I think he's talking to us, the folks who already think they are in Web3 and participating in that. He's saying the VCs and their LPs do. The VCs and their liquidity pools do. It will never escape their incentives. It's ultimately a centralized entity with a different label. Know what you're getting into. So I think what Jack Dorsey is trying to say here is to us who are currently folks who are providing liquidity, who are staking, who are putting their money into all of these DEXs right now. He's saying the VCs are actually the one who's in control. Now, I don't totally disagree because I know there are a couple of blockchains that are currently funded by VCs. So VCs are venture capitalists. These are traditional finance people who has a lot of money and they bootstrap projects from the start. One example would be Solana, which is majorly owned by VCs. So when they have early shares, they usually buy these protocols for cheap, for pennies. Now Solana's trading like $100. They could easily sell all of their bags for thousands of percent in profit. So that's why VCs are still involved in Web3, in blockchain. They're everywhere. As long as there's money and profit to be made, you can bet that VCs are there. So what he's saying is, you think you are in control of all those LPs, let's say on Trader Joe or Uniswap. He's saying that the VCs actually have their LPs there. So they're actually eating our lunch. So this stirred up a ton of responses from either fans or through the public and like the news, like calling him out for like, hey, you were part of the VC, you received VC money when you built Twitter. So now he's no longer the CEO of Twitter. He's now going into this category about Web3. So this was the original tweet that started it all. So not soon after, he started retweeting this image, right? He's saying that's 100% true. So this image is Web3 faucet. So it has Ethereum over here. We like to use Ethereum, but there's so many other coins and protocols and blockchains are involved in Web3. But I think Ethereum is probably the most well-known for smart contract platform. So they're saying VCs are actually eating all your lunch for Web3 already, Silicon Valley VCs, while the retail, that's us, are getting drips of profits, while they're getting all the profits, most of the profits. So he retweeted that. So as you can see, like his stance is very clear. He's supporting this idea that VCs are in control of Web3. So obviously he's making enemies for VCs. So Here's another tweet. The VCs are the problems, not the people. So he's very anti-VC right now. So here's a nice reply from CZ, the owner of Binance. He says, blockchain fixes it. Global fundraising from the people. He's like, word. So obviously he's very anti-VC, even though he built Twitter from VC money. So I will give him that because he probably has more experience with VCs than the rest of us. He built Twitter and he's the CEO. He was the CEO of Twitter. So he knows how VCs get funding, how VCs make money. So I will give him that. He definitely knows about it. All right, so on to the next part. So not long after that, he got banned. He joked about, I'm officially banned from Web3. So this person banned him. So for those of you who don't know, Mark Andreessen is a very, very famous billionaire VC. So remember, he's like, the VCs are the problem. So he blocked him. He blocked Jack Dorsey on Twitter. I actually met Mark Andreessen. This is Mark Andreessen, by the way. I actually met him in real life. Shook his hand too. He's a pretty nice guy. I met him. Very nice guy. But he's a very smart guy too. He actually built the Netscape Navigator browser. For those of you who are from the 90s, probably one of the first browsers on the computer. So obviously very smart. He got in very early. He invested in a lot of companies. So he invested in LinkedIn. He served on the board of Facebook, HP, Stanford Hospital, Oculus. So a lot of famous companies are from his venture, Andreessen Horowitz, which him and Ben Horowitz are partners. So A16. So this is Mark Andreessen. He's known as someone who's very, very active on Twitter. So after the comment that Jack made about VCs are the problem, he blocked him. Mark Andreessen blocked Jack. And Jack's like, I'm officially banned from Web3. So this is pretty funny. Now the heat is heating up, right? You got the VC banning the guy who's criticizing the VC. So, okay, that's Mark Andreessen. And now he's sulking. He's saying more about the tagline of Mark Andreessen's company. So he said, we invest in software eating the world. So that was the quote on their profile. This is the A16's quote. They invented the phrase software eating the world. So now he's saying this mission statement has always felt so dark. So Jack's punching back at Andreessen. Okay. And now more punches from Jack. From A16 website, we aim to connect entrepreneurs, investors, executives, engineers, academics, industry experts, and others in the technology ecosystem through open and decentralized blocking of Twitter accounts. That is hilarious. So Mark Andreessen actually blocked other people. So I think this guy is like he's a CEO of Reddit or something. Yeah, CTO of Reddit. So yeah, Mark Andreessen banned a lot of people, blocked a lot of people on Twitter. But this is really funny from Jack. He's like, we through open and decentralized blocking of Twitter accounts. So Jack's punching back. So now we got like a really serious discussion, right? So this person spoke about, I think they want to revoke, like they want to argue with Jack's point here about VCs only in Web3. So he's saying that if you look outside your bubble of rich dudes, you'll see that there are creators actually building Web3 and a whole evolution in the form of digital renaissance. Come say hi, we'll listen to our conversation. The NFT space is filled with geniuses. I agree. I've seen a lot of projects on DeFi. They are super, super innovating. As an engineer, I know how hard it is to build something like that. So I think this is something like I'm super bullish on. So, and now this person, he's saying, well, you buy Ethereum on Coinbase, transfer it to MetaMask, and buy an Adidas Bored Ape on OpenSea. The decentralized Web3 is centralizing into being run by corporations at a starting rate. I think he has fair points. By he meant Jack Dorsey. And I think that's a true statement right here. I agree. For us, a lot of folks who, if you want to get into crypto, you have to go through some sort of centralized exchange first, where your personal information are required to open an account. in order to transfer money from your bank. So a company like Coinbase is one of those biggest centralized exchanges, and that's how a lot of people got their money in. And then you transfer it to MetaMask. So you may think that, oh, if I have my money on my MetaMask, I should be able to do whatever I want. I have the freedom to do whatever I want. You're right in a way. You can put the money into any DEX that you want, but at the same time, if you're buying something like an Adidas, this NFT is owned by the corporation called Adidas, the shoe company. And then if you buy on Bored Ape NFT on OpenSea, OpenSea is actually funded by VC. So do you see the pattern here? So these companies are actually still backed by centralized traditional companies. The decentralized Web3 is centralizing into run by corporations. So that's what this person means. So Jack came back and clarified that I care only about decentralized, secure, private foundations without single point of failure, and I'm focused on that. And that's a great point by Jack. So, and here, this is exactly what I think. So people don't understand that Jack isn't anti-Web3. He's not. He's just anti-establishment within Web3. So we don't repeat the mistake of Web2. So that's what Jack is talking about. And I totally agree with him, because Jack is mentioning that a lot of things currently that runs on Web3, like DEXs, a lot of these services like OpenSeas, they are still owned by centralized entities like companies and VCs. They are not truly decentralized. A real truly decentralized, like that's not owned by VC and stuff, is a project like Time Token, right? Well, you know the people behind it, and you got one person or a few people, a small group of entities who control and very transparent about exactly what they do, about how the treasury is run. So yeah, that's one thing. So he's saying that I am not anti-Ethereum. I'm anti-centralized VC-owned single point of failure and corporate control lies. If your goal is anti-establishment, I promise you it isn't Ethereum. Don't believe or trust me. Just look at the fundamentals. So again, he's making the point that he doesn't hate Web3 or crypto. He's anti-centralization and VC owned. He doesn't want to see VC come into Web3 and change it to sort of what they did with Web2. So that's his point. And I think the next tweet, this one is the last one. This is the last one. I think this one I agree really well. So this is saying that people are still building a traditional Web2 infrastructure. Remember, I was on Trader Joe and the site went down, right, a few times. So any of these DEXs is still on Web2. They are still hosted by some companies. So this person is saying, I still rely on AWS for storage, Cloudflare for DDoS protection, WordPress for hosting, Namecheap for domains. Each of these things can be addressed by a more decentralized approach. We don't have to call it Web3. So a lot of these companies are standard infrastructure for a lot of websites. When you go to a website, you are most likely to hit one of those services. So we are making some progress in Web3 to replace some of these things. So for domain names, you got ENS, Ethereum Name Service. For storage, you got Filecoin, which is like a decentralized storage, sort of like a website hosting. So I see that Cloudflare for DDoS. So Cloudflare actually is Web3 friendly. They offer a service called a IPFS gateway. So without going too much into details, IPFS stands for Interplanetary File System. It's pretty much the file system that Filecoin uses to decentralize all the file hosting across the web. So Cloudflare actually runs a gateway for that. So a few days ago when Trader Joe went down, that is because a Cloudflare gateway went down. So we are still depending on these traditional companies. So the vision is an internet where users run their own servers, have genuine digital property rights, have seamless internet native payments, and don't have to register with third party just to use a chat app. It's much better internet than we have today. And I think this is a very true statement. And I fully agree. Like if we really want a better internet where it's not owned by Facebook or Google or Twitter or Microsoft, then this is the dream. We need to have users to own their own server and own their own data, and to be able to monetize that ourselves without having a big companies like Facebook sell our data out in order to provide a service. We don't need Facebook. And I truly believe that this is possible because after using centralized exchanges like Coinbase for so long, when the first time I see the power of DEXs, that's what made me believe that we can replace them with smart contracts. So I want you to really read this statement here, and I'll link all of these tweets in the description, and really want to understand like what is the future that we're building. What does Web3 really mean? In my opinion, this is the ideal state of Web3, and I really want to do my best to help promote that happening. And part of the reason I have this YouTube channel, I want to educate people. I want to bring attention to people to Web3, and I'm a very bullish on that, and that's why I'm investing a lot of my money in a lot of these DeFi projects. So I hope you guys see the funness of all of this drama, how it actually led to a meaningful conversation in the end. I will link all of this in the description, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I like to do more of these commentary about what's going on in the blockchain. So let me know what you think, if I should do more of these. Like and subscribe if you like, and yeah, be sure to donate to my Patreon. It will really help me out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.